It's gluten-free, it's alcohol-free, it's still decadent. Today we're drinking Stout from Big Drop Brewing Company. Hi guys, it's Jim here from drtankenstein.com with another episode of Beers of the British Isles. On today's episode, we are drinking the expertly named Stout from Big Drop Brewing Company. Now this small can of wonder cost me £1.30 from Tesco. It's an alcohol-free, gluten-free stout. Would you believe it? It's one of the, to be fair to it, it's one of the only alcohol-free beers that Tesco sold in an individual can. Most of the others are sold in 4-packs or larger. So, Stout, that's something going for you already. So like I say, low alcohol, it's in the 0.5% alcohol range, that range that, you know, you don't get physiological effects from it. So it's 0.5% alcohol, 28 IBUs. Now, the last time I did an alcohol-free beer, I was perplexed by how the IBUs were going to play out, and it turns out they didn't. In a stout, however, IBUs can be very useful because they can balance out the inherent sweetness in a stout. And people are always surprised to find that stouts are actually generally quite high IBUs, quite high bitterness units, and that's because they're inherently quite sweet. So to balance out that sweetness, you need a little bit of bitterness. The brewery that made this beer are very proud of it, so there's quite a lot of information out there. First of all, the hops that they use in this beer to get those 28 IBUs are Brambling Cross, and that's an English hop. Not a lot of aroma or flavor. It's kind of that, you know, traditional kind of floral English hop character that sort of just dissipates, really. So we're not talking about a hop bomb. We do have a lot of information about the malt bill as well. It contains barley malt. It also, very interestingly, contains rye. Now, I've been on my little rant about rye in the past, about how it kind of gives this weird, smoky, spicy flavor. In a way, this could really work in its favor, because rye, if it brings a lot of flavor, that's what we want in an alcohol-free beer. We need some flavor, so that rye could work very well in this stout. On top of that, the fermentables, I guess, the non-hop ingredients they contain lactose. So I guess traditionally you would call this a milk stout, although it seems like you're hard pressed to find a stout nowadays that doesn't have lactose in it. So I guess people have stopped bragging about it being a milk stout nowadays. But this contains lactose, which is a smart move, I think, for an alcohol-free beer, as lactose is known to add a little bit of body, you know, just kind of bulk up the beer a little bit. So it contains lactose. Also has cocoa nibs in it, probably during fermentation. So stouts, typically big, bold, colourful, malt-forward flavours. Alcohol-free version I'm very, very interested in, because normally stouts, you know, typically that alcohol, the sweetness, that warmth that comes in the alcohol typically works very well in a stout. And this isn't going to have that. So instead, they've taken care of that with the lactose and the cacao nibs. So I'm imagining quite a chocolatey, sweet thing. I don't know. The brewery, like I say, are very proud of this. They profess a lot of dark stone fruit flavors and chocolate and coffee and all that kind of stuff. I'm rambling on now because I don't think I've ever been as I don't know, I guess excited to crack a beer open on this show before as I am with this one. So let's do it. Okay, we're in the glass. We are drinking this beer. I will say that this beer has the best head of any beer I've ever seen in my life. Normally, when we break in between the two little sections, it's literally while I pour the beer. I've had to let this settle out several times just because the head was so strong on it. So head retention, it's got it. Now we're in the glass. Like I say, it's a stout. So it's the appearance is spot on. It's very dark. Head retention is great, and the head is darkly coloured, which I always think is a real good sign that I'm going to enjoy a beer. It's warm. I didn't give my temperature update. It's warm just because, like I say, brambling cross, a stout. I'm not imagining there's going to be very delicate flavors that are going to boil off. This is all about what hits me in the mouth, okay? So we've dealt with the colour, dealt with the appearance, dealt with the head retention. Aroma's nothing. The aroma is almost like, it's like, I don't know why I thought this analogy. The aroma is like hearing a cough in a dark room. You can almost smell carbon dioxide, and I don't know what carbon dioxide smells like. So there you go. That's how little this beer smells. So saying that, I'm going to dive in. Okay, well carbonated, great. That's the first thing that hit. The first thing that hit me is that kind of sour carbonation from this beer. I guess that's couples actually quite well with the roastiness. I don't know what's in here, but it is quite roasty. So let me just it has a weird kind of aftertaste that hits you pretty much as soon as you swallow it, if I'm honest. So it tastes to me like a weak milky coffee, if that makes sense. So it does have some kind of roastiness to it, or some kind of depth to the flavor, but it is actually quite sweet in that weird way. It's sweet in a strange way, and yeah, kind of weak milky coffee. That's all I've got. So no aroma, excellent head retention, dark in color as I would imagine, well carbonated, so that nice kind of sour roast initial upfront flavor, but the aftertaste, it tastes like a weak, sweet, milky coffee. Big Drop Brewing Company, the guys. So these guys brew exclusively alcohol-free beers, which, great. I love to see breweries emerging that are kind of specialized in that area. Their kind of motto is to drink and not to be drunk, which is fine, but I have drunk alcohol-full beers and not got drunk either. So I get what they're going for. It's a cool turn of phrase. So these guys, I don't quite know when they formed, but it's just two friends that met up and decided they wanted to make alcohol-free beers because they couldn't find any good ones. They're getting a lot of praise. So this beer has won World Beer Awards 2017 Silver Award. They only put that one on the can, but if you look on their website, this beer has won loads of awards. So they're clearly doing something right. The guys that started it teamed up with one of the head brewers down at Wild Beer Co. So, you know, those guys are very innovative with their fermentations and things like that. I think they now have their own sort of proprietary method of how they brew their alcohol-free beer, and how they either remove the alcohol or, you know, brew a beer without alcohol in it. Yeah, and I think, you know, fair play to them. They seem to be doing really well. Okay, so how am I going to sum this up? How am I going to sum up Stout? Firstly, I will just say that this can appears to be, from what I can see on the internet, quite an old version of the can. I didn't buy this beer that long ago, so, you know, I didn't buy this, it hasn't been sat on my shelf since 2015 or anything. It just seems like they have a couple of versions out there. Okay, so the beer itself, it's a stout. It completely 100% looks the part. So if you were drinking an alcohol-free beer and didn't want anyone to know, this is your guy. Dark beer, dark head is always a winning combination. It just kind of promises something great. Okay, so like I always said, head retention is perfect on it. Excellent head retention. I've plugged a few times my blog posts on foam. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, definitely go check it out. Alcohol in a beer always inhibits head retention to some degree. So it looks like removing or not putting the alcohol in, whatever they did to this beer, definitely helps them with their head retention in this beer, because it's absolutely excellent. I mean, even now, even at the end of the beer, it's still kind of kicking off. So it looks good. The aroma, like I say, now that I'm kind of used to it a little bit and I've tasted it, I can kind of smell a little bit of coffee, but honestly, ultimately, I stand by my coughing in a dark room situation. I'd really have to look for something to be able to report any kind of aroma on this beer. Okay, so what does it taste like? Yeah, so reading about this beer online, the brewery kind of promised all kinds of dark stone fruits and, you know, chocolate and things like that. Things that you would imagine a stout would taste like. I really, really wanted to like this beer. Honestly, it's just not my thing. What positives are that when you first drink it, when you first put it in your mouth, that roast character and the carbonation, the awesome carbonation, really meld together quite well and give you a real kind of sharp, hitting flavor. After that, it kind of dies off. And like I say, it's not my thing. That's it. Normally, I don't touch anything with lactose in it anyway as a dietary thing, but I'll make an exception for this guy. It tastes, like I say, it tastes like a weak milky coffee. So actually, a lot of people like that. If you drink lattes or something like that, then this could be the alcohol-free beer for you. Personally, myself, I'm not into it. I can't find any of the chocolate, and the roast character for me just doesn't last long enough to make it a worthwhile stout for me to drink. You can decide on your own, and I suggest that you do that. I suggest that you get down to Tesco on my glowing recommendation and grab yourself for £1.30 a can of Stout by Big Drop Brewing Company, and see what you think. Let me know what you think. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm completely wrong about this beer and it's actually everything that all those awarding bodies think it is. Let me know. I guess to sum up, if this beer were a song, it would be My Milkshake Brings All the Boys to the Yard, because this is weirdly the milkiest beer I've ever tasted. So, you know, reasonable song, reasonable beer. I'll take that. If you like this beer, take it down to your local bottle shop and tell them you want an alcohol-free beer that tastes just like this. I'm sure that they will accommodate you in that. Until then, guys, cheers.